to justice for all.
One of the things that I feel very passionate about is bail reform. How many of you all have heard about people who are locked up for crimes and they're not out because they simply can't afford it? And that's a big problem. One of the things that we've got to make sure is that if somebody is detained pre-trial, it is because they're either dangerous to the community, dangerous to themselves, or dangerous to somebody else, not because they can't afford to get out. We have to set up procedures and policies in order to address that problem. How do we do that? We do that at the beginning by making sure that they have a lawyer present during the arraignment. That's not the law now. It should be. Number two, they've got to have the prosecutors there to give the judges as much information as they can early on. Again, that's not mandated by our laws, and it sure should be. Judges can only make decisions that are good if they have enough information upon which to make them. The more information, the better off we all are. I think that the judge of the Court of Criminal Appeals, all those judges, could be leaders in that area in pushing bail reform. It's been an issue. It's not been one that has been handled by the legislature, but it should be, and that's one of the things that I'll make sure to do once I'm elected.
Thank you.
Well, what they said. No, I think one of the things that we could probably add is a problem in death penalty litigation. We saw it again this week. The Court of Criminal Appeals reversed a trial because the proper rules weren't given back when the trial was had over in, I think it was in Kaufman County. But the reason why the proper rules weren't given is because the court has been less than clear in giving us guidance as practitioners in the trial courts about how we are supposed to handle death penalty questions about intellectual disability. And because they're not so clear, and because they've been reversed on a number of times by the Supreme Court of the United States, everybody that's involved in that trial has to do it over again. And that's a shame. I know because I've experienced that as a practitioner. When you're trying cases or when you're in the courts that we have presided over or are presiding over, you can only do what the court tells you to do. Even if you disagree with it, even if you think it's unwise, the cost, the expense is that everybody involved, the defendant, their family, the victims, their families, everybody involved will have to do the case again. And those decisions need to be clear, they need to be better written so that we don't have that many retrials.
Thank you so much. You're back up.
Thank you very much. My name is Brandon Birmingham, and I am currently the presiding judge of one of the felony district courts in Dallas, Texas. I actually am right next door to Judge Clinton. I'm here today with my family. That's my daughter and my son. I didn't tell him I was going to point him out. But I don't think he's too shy. But I did want to say that the reason why I'm here, the reason why I'm running for this bench is because of them. And it's because of my wife, who's out here taking pictures too. I'm trying to make the world a better place. That's kind of always been my impetus, my motive. When I was a prosecutor just starting out, I worked on criminal cases. All I've done my whole career are criminal trials. I'm obsessed with trials. Trials are sort of, to me, like movies and art, or music are for other people. I study them, I immerse myself in them, and I really do enjoy them. And it's through that experience that I think uniquely qualifies me for the Court of Criminal Appeals. We are running to bring change. We need to have more of that trial experience reflected in those decisions. How many of y'all have ever heard of the exonerations that happened in Dallas County? There was like 34 of them. I mean, there was so many of them, and I actually got to work on some of those cases. Those lessons that we learned in those cases are not reflected in some of the opinions that are coming out. If you ask me what I believe as it relates to the Court of Criminal Appeals, I believe that Texas Constitution is independent. I believe that the Texas values need to be reflected in those decisions. And I believe that our goal should be to make sure that we don't have any wrongful convictions happen ever again. If you've ever heard about any cases from the Court of Criminal Appeals and you just thought, why is that? How can somebody sleep through a trial and all of a sudden that trial be a fair trial? A lawyer sleeping through a trial, things like that. That's offensive to me, and those are some of the things that I want to change. The other thing I'd like to do is bring leadership. The role of a court is to call the balls and strikes, but I do think that the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals can be a leader in legislative change, and that's one of the things that I want to do. Again, my name is Brandon Birmingham, proud and honored to be the Democratic nominee for the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, place 9.